Behind the glass sat a boy named Tommy. Every evening, he would spend his time gazing intensely through the window at the secluded house across the street. This house always evoked a sense of unease in him, as if something unseen and ominous lurked behind its walls. The street where the house stood was neglected and covered in thick shadows. The neighbors remained silent about it and never approached it closely. Rumors circulated that the house was cursed and that anyone who lived there was subjected to unknown dangers. However, Tommy didn't believe in superstitions and decided to explore the mysterious house on his own. An internal urge led him towards the enigma that pulled at him like a magnet. He decided that it was time to penetrate its sinister walls and unravel everything. One cold evening, as darkness had already enveloped the city, Tommy stood in front of the house's entrance door. He nervously swallowed a lump in his throat and, despite the trembling, opened the door. Behind the threshold awaited a gloomy atmosphere. The walls were covered in dirt and cobwebs, and the air was heavy with the scent of decaying leaves. Ahead, Tommy noticed a dark corridor that seemed endless. He began to navigate through the dark labyrinth, trying not to succumb to panic. Every step produced the rustling and creaking of long-forgotten floors. Suddenly, whispers reached him from the depths of the house. He froze, listening attentively. The whispers grew louder and more insistent. Tommy decided to follow the sounds until he stood before a closed door. He slowly turned the handle and opened it, revealing a passage into an even darker and creepier room. Inside the room, on a low table, stood a glass that appeared to have not been cleaned in a long time. Inside the glass was something peculiar, a red stain resembling a blood trail. Tommy felt waves of unease run down his spine, but curiosity overpowered fear. He approached the glass and carefully examined the strange stain. It was bright, as if fresh blood, and it seemed to slowly spread across the surface. Tommy's heart pounded harder as he realized that it wasn't an ordinary stain, it was alive. Suddenly, something stirred behind the glass. Tommy recoiled, fearfully pressing himself against the wall. He realized that something unimaginable was happening in this house, and his curiosity had turned into danger. But it was already too late. A dark figure emerged behind the glass, a creature that resembled a monster from the most terrifying nightmares. It had clawed hands and eyes that glowed with sinister fire. Tommy couldn't look away from it. It was irresistible, both alluring and terrifying. Suddenly, the monster broke free from the glass and started approaching Tommy. He felt fear paralyze his body, robbing him of the strength to act. The creature drew closer and closer, its breath becoming palpable. Desperately, Tommy attempted to retreat, but his legs refused to obey. He could feel the monstrous presence looming ever closer, its every breath growing heavier and more menacing. The darkness of the room closed in around him, as if swallowing him alive. The creature drew nearer, its claws extending slowly, ready to deliver a fatal blow. In a final act of desperation, Tommy raised his hand and reached out towards a row of shelves on the opposite side of the room. His fingers found something cold and solid. He grabbed the object and lunged forward without hesitation. The monster, already prepared to seize him, was taken aback by the moment of surprise. Tommy drove the object straight into the creature's chest, and it emitted a sinister howl. Soon, the monster collapsed to the ground, emitting a final groan. Tommy trembled, realizing that he had just defeated a creature that belonged in nightmares. He looked at it, still unable to believe his eyes, but there was no joy in this victory, only emptiness and fear. He understood that this house was not a place for the living. He felt the malice and darkness permeating its walls, attempting to consume his soul. Tommy decided that it was time to leave this place and never return. As he exited the dark house, Tommy promised himself that he would be wary of sinister enigmas, that he would fight against dreadful secrets and protect those who couldn't defend themselves.